Hey, everyone, welcome to this live, which is going to be a little bit different tonight because tonight, like right now, so it's Wednesday night, April 23rd, and it is the eve of the Armenian Genocide Memorial. It's the 110th year of observing the memorial for this Armenian genocide. And it also happens to be, as I'm standing here in Jerusalem, it happens to be also the eve of the Holocaust Remembrance Day for the Jewish Holocaust. Well, the Holocaust, um, and so here we go. I'm catching up with the march from the other direction. Actually, I just came from that side of town, but the Armenians are marching for recognition of the Armenian genocide, which was a horrific and barbaric uh, several years massacres, atrocities of Armenians in Turkey and throughout that area. They were marched from areas of Turkey into let me catch up with them, into the deserts of Syria. Those who survived, 1.5 million were killed. And here we go. So, so, so two genocides. How are you?
I'm fine.
Good to see you. Two genocides being commemorated in the same day. It just happens to fall on the same day because in Israel they go by the Jewish calendar, so it's not always that April 24th would be the day to have the Holocaust memorial, but it happens to coincide this year. So here is the Armenian community and hopefully others that have joined them. But Israel has not recognized the Armenian genocide, and many Israelis don't know much about it. So. Live. So we were all just together the other day for Easter, and now much more somber circumstances, but mostly Armenians, not many others that have joined, unfortunately. But so the march goes from the Armenian quarter, from the convent, that's where they start, where they gather, and then they're carrying, you saw the Armenian flags, and the scouts are wearing their scout scarves and all different flags going on over there. And this is in southern Jerusalem. We're crossing a main street here, Emek Raphaim, the German colony is right over here. And we're going to this church called St. Gregory the Illuminator. It's a church from 1878. And hi, how are you? Hi, good, yeah. So church from 1878. It's a Templar church, like most of our Templar building, like most of the architecture here in the German colony, and built in 1878. I think it was handed over to the Armenians. Now, St. Gregory is the sort of, you could say, the founder of Christianity in Armenia, or it was because of him, his influence is what made Armenia turned to become the first Christian nation in the world, the first nation to make Christianity its national religion. So check out this church. It's only open twice a year, and it's here in the heart of Jewish Jerusalem. A couple years ago, there was talk of demolishing this church and building, I don't know if it was residence or a hotel or something, but thankfully that didn't happen. So from what I can tell, there aren't many other people aside from the Armenian community. There's about 70 people maybe. And, like I said, Israel does not recognize the Armenian genocide. And people say it's because of the diplomatic relations that they want to maintain with Turkey and probably now Azerbaijan. And however, there is a legend in history that Adolf Hitler took inspiration to carry out the Holocaust in Germany and throughout Europe by saying that, after all, nobody remembers the Armenians. And how true is that? I mean, do you study about the Armenian genocide in America in your schools? Let me see who's writing. Laura Goebel, 110 years. I read it was barbaric. It was so barbaric. I just finished reading a book called Ravished Armenia, and the author is Aurora Mardigian, or not pronouncing that right. Anyway, and she's a survivor. She was a survivor. She was the only one who survived in her family, and she got, like, at the end. Spoiler alert: she gets rescued and goes is relocated to America by, I don't remember if it was American missionaries or politicians that she found refuge with. But her story is it was so hard to read. And trust me, I read a lot, I cover a lot. I'm no stranger to a lot of the atrocities that have happened here in present day, and even right here, like along this road here where there used to be terror attacks right down here. I remember walking on this very street when the bombing at the Cafe Hillel, I don't remember, probably 20 years ago or so, a suicide bomber in a cafe down the street. And I remember walking down the street when I not knowing quite yet the whole situation, and somebody was running this direction. And I think he was a worker at the cafe. And I just remember, like, he had an apron in his hand and he was wearing all black. So that was, that this street just has memories for me right here of just those, of the horrible things that can happen. However, I will tell you, that book, I couldn't read it straight through. I had to put it down for long periods and then gear myself up to read it again. Because there are atrocities out there, there are horrible things. This is some of the most barbaric testimony that I have ever heard. And just, like, repeated, just total lack of conscience. I went on, and this went on for multiple years, for at least 4 years, until it subsided. But even before that, there had been attacks that were going on, 10 to 20 years before it started. So anyway, now that I've filled your mind with that, let's go a little bit into the church and see what's happening. Here's all the flags lined up. Now, mind you, my experience with lack of connection in churches, so I apologize in advance, but let's try, okay? See that flag over there with the white going into the colors, the three colors of the Armenian flag? That's for Artsakh, or maybe otherwise known as Nagorno-Karabakh. That was the enclave, formerly Armenian, ethnically cleansed, now part of Azerbaijan. All right, so now the interesting thing about the timing, and I'm sorry, I'm not going to understand the sermon, so I'll step out for now and speak in English. But um, the interesting thing about this timing is that for Israel, for Israelis, the Jewish state, they commemorate the Holocaust like it's very, very somber. And by the way, only a week away from Memorial Day, which is another somber day here in Israel. But from any time now, everything will be shutting down. Like any places of entertainment, like cafes, restaurants, movie theaters, malls, anything that would be enjoyable will be shut down until tomorrow morning through the siren. There will be a siren in the morning that will go for 2 minutes, and it'll be a moment of silence for people to remember the Holocaust, remember the victims, and so that's how Israelis will observe this day. So it's just interesting to be here now with the Armenian community that is also remembering this genocide, but also trying to get recognition for it here in by the state of Israel and from other countries. And they're right here in Jerusalem demanding this recognition and this justice. And the Armenians here in Jerusalem they don't number many, like there's a couple hundred, maybe 2,000. And then maybe, there's the numbers range. I mean, the numbers vary. I've heard estimates like maybe up to 6,000 Armenians in the country. And with I think the biggest community being here in Jerusalem. So it's for the people who live here and who are living among Israelis, and according to, like, everything is shut down according to the Jewish calendar. It's living like in a dichotomy of worlds, where in one sense you want to, you want yours, trying to maintain your traditions and your faith and your customs and culture, and you're going, as a minority group, of course, against the tide. So, like, also for Easter and also for some of the Christian holidays. But this will be interesting now because, since earlier this week, the news is totally occupied with Holocaust stories. And Israelis very much take seriously, like, this memory of the Holocaust, remembrance of the Holocaust. And they have even a series of events which is called Zikaron Basalon. That means, translation is like memories in the living room, and they'll have like lectures or say, like, fireside chats with Holocaust survivors who actually are remaining, and they will talk about their story, and they try to get audiences there. The only programming on TV tonight will also be Holocaust stories and memorial ceremonies. Like, all regular programming will, Israeli programming will be off the air until tomorrow again. So, maybe even after the sirens, it might actually go until the day totally breaks. That's definitely the way it is for Memorial Day. It's like 24 hours with nothing on TV. So, so living here and being totally, like, if you're immersed, like, in the Israeli news, like, that was all you heard this week was about the Holocaust and different aspects of it. And the Jewish people are very adamant about remembering and never again, not letting this happen again. Now, the Armenians, probably the same, but without the same support of other nations, and then also here, doing it on your own as a minority community is much different. So just seeing this, for me, living here, just as observing and knowing, like, everything's about to get shut down on this side of town, but also we've got, this happening with the Armenians, and I'm just like, wow, like, cultures collide. Another thing to note about today specifically that has nothing to do with either this or that is the fact that there is a massive fire going on in the outskirts of Jerusalem. And it's probably, how would I say, like 10 to 20 miles from here. And yet we're breathing the smoke of this fire here in downtown Jerusalem. We're breathing this. Like, my eyes were watering before. It's lifting a little bit now, but it's very heavy here. Just the smell of the smoke and the actual flames in the air. Like, it's like, everybody's like sniffling and everything. So it is actually crazy that it has affected a large part of the country. There's a lot of roads that are shut down. People are stuck. I just drove a guy from just like right outside the fire line. I brought him to Jerusalem. He needs to go the Tel Aviv direction, but he can't because all the buses are shut down. All the roads are shut down. Probably the train is. So everybody is stuck on one side or the other. Several communities were evacuated. There's all sorts of, like, kibbutzes and moshavim, like, all along that area, and some cities and towns. They're all, like, many of them were evacuated. So either they made it to the Jerusalem side or they made it to the Tel Aviv side. But, like, this one guy that I drove, he said, I'm going to go sit in a cafe for a couple hours and see if the buses pick up again. And if not, I'm going to look for a place to stay in Jerusalem today. So that's what's happening in addition to the memorials. And so anyway, it looks like the church service is ending now. Emily said she found the quote, and you took a picture of it at the Holocaust Museum in D.C. Oh, awesome. Okay. Thank you for confirming that. All right. So now they're going to march again. And if I hid your message by accident, it's because I'm having trouble tapping this whole thing. Oh, I think I've got your messages on. So ridiculous. I don't know. Using a phone right now. So they're going to march again back, but I'll be with them this time, so we'll see. Hey, Vahe. How are you? Good, good. Let's go see the sign. Hello. Can I see this? We march for justice. The Armenian genocide keeps moving. Okay, 24 April 1915. Hey, Kevin.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. How are you? I'm on live.
Good, good.
Are you going to jump on and say something about why this is important?
But it's important because it hasn't been recognized.
Hold on. This is Keram. Go ahead.
It hasn't been recognized to this day. The Israeli government has yet to recognize the Armenian genocide. And it's a moral obligation on their part, a moral duty to support the Armenian cause and the
Here, it's falling also on Holocaust.
because the Jewish Armenian people have gone through a similar fate.
Mm-hmm.
The Israeli government should be more empathetic towards the Armenian people, but they haven't so far, and there's no sign of them recognizing it anytime in the near future. Okay. Unfortunately.
Yep. All right. Thank you. Did we miss the entire interview, guys? Because I just asked Caroline what he thought, and then I saw it said, "Oops, connection lost." I hope not. I can't trust the city. The city and connection. I don't know. Is it the fire? Is it all shutting down for the Holocaust Memorial Day? They shut the internet as well. I don't know. Anyway, being sarcastic, but. All right. So now this march will go back toward the old city, through Jerusalem, through this is southern central Jerusalem, and go back to the old city. So we'll see the route that they take, and also the responses of people along the way, again, who don't know much about it and don't understand. Maybe would not even be able to recognize the flag, which is very interesting, right? So I don't know where these guys are going around the garden here. Anyway, glad to have you here. Let me know where you're watching from, and also which platform, because I'm streaming across a few platforms. So it's just interesting, like who connects via YouTube versus Facebook or whatever, and also what country, what time it is there, all these things. It's all a connected world we live in, except when you're walking through the old city in Jerusalem and trying to actually have a connection. It's very funny. But there's a hotel right over here called the Orient Hotel. Fairly new, I don't know, in the last several years, like opened up. Over here is Liberty Bell Park, and then a lot of construction. Over here, the train station, the first station, if you are familiar with that, if you've been in Jerusalem, it was a great place to hang out, go to restaurants and whatever. And looks like they're knocking it all down to build buildings or something, build apartments. All right, so if these guys don't get marching soon, I might get off this live and do another one. I might do another one when they're marching. We'll see. Maybe I'll just do video and upload that later. Looks like there's some Israelis passing by asking about what this is, what it's all about. Well, that's interesting. But as with uh, most things here in Jerusalem happen in a vacuum. You do your thing and somebody else does their thing, and it's all compartmentalized. So I'm not sure how many people actually even notice that this is happening. So, like Kiram said, they march for recognition by the Israeli government, and they think that considering the mutual histories of Jews and Armenians, that there should be some sort of empathy coming from especially the Jewish state for the Armenian people for what they went through. So that's what he said just now, which hopefully you guys caught, but I saw this thing said that connection was lost temporarily. So his words probably better, more articulate than mine. So, all right, it looks like they are getting ready to march. And here's the they have a police escort. רגע, מה?
שיום השואה של היהודים ויום השואה של הארמנים, שיום הזיכרון יצא פה יום זה ב-2017.
Okay. 8 years ago. So 8 years ago,
It's not many years.
Okay.
Yes.
That's interesting. It's every so often because it's in the same season.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. So the last time that the Holocaust Memorial Day and the Armenian Genocide Memorial Day was on the same day was in 2017. Okay. Wow. Do you remember it?
Yeah, I remember because it's not 20 years, it's 8 years.
Yeah.
It's not many years.
Yeah. What do you think? How does it like? Do you think it's significant when it? Significance to that? Does it feel significant in any way?
I feel, I'm very sad about the two folks.
Yeah.
And I want a solidarity.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So it's very good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you. How are you? So this march here. Oh, hey, thanks for Monique. Thank you for checking in. You're watching from Illinois. That's awesome. All right. This march here just comes on the heels of Easter, and on Saturday, which is the big Easter event for most of the churches here in Jerusalem, for the Eastern churches. On Saturday, there was just a lot of tension, some of it resulting in violence in the church, around the church, for the people trying to get into the Holy Fire ceremony. The police were. Hi, Alex. All right. All right, and I just want you to know, in the meantime, I'm actually fielding a call and messaging my son to go pick up my other son. So I hope this works out. Okay, so there's already like a high level of tension among the Christian communities uh, with the police, and just for what happened on Easter, that religious ceremony was marred by a lot of conflict, a lot of confrontations between the Christian pilgrims and the police. So we're just on the heels of that. We haven't finished dealing with that, and then this date comes along. Religious genocide. Wow, nothing like patience right there, right? Let's see, who else? Oh my gosh. Of course, the drivers are going to be upset, traffic. causes traffic. There's always traffic in Jerusalem. All you need is like just a little bit of an event to derail the whole city. The traffic getting like in all the areas outside Jerusalem was just insane today because of the fire. Well, now the same bus is going to have to wait for the same people to cross. Unless he pushes us out of the way. Getting close there. We're heading up Karen Hayesod right now. On this side, you have like across this park here is the old city. By the way, Armenia in Armenian is Hayastan. So you hear them singing. There's one word at least we can recognize, right? Let's see if we hear it. Hi, Alex. He's not here. He had to be at home. I needed him to go get Daniel from the bus. Yeah.
Can't Daniel come with him?
But they're stuck at home now. It's far. We live another 10 minutes past the church. That's where we live. Where the church is at, we live further down.
He don't know the way?
He can't just come walk here. It's too long. He'll never make it. And in fact, I don't think I'm going to make it. I still got to walk back. My car's over there. What am I going to do? Anyway, have you done these marches before? Have you done these marches before? Every year you do it? Good. Where's Elena? Where's Elena? Why? Tell her I miss her And next time I want to see her.
Next year.
Yeah, next
Maybe
year.
tomorrow we'll do something else.
Oh my gosh, sorry. If you managed to stay through that, you're amazing. I will say that Lucas did not go pick up Daniel, so the chaperone from the bus had to call me again that they're sitting outside waiting. So anyway, that's what just happened. And I literally had to not just receive a phone call, but make a phone call, place a phone call, not just send a message, call the child, because even though he's on his phone all the time, he somehow can't see my message. Anyway. Oh, sorry. There's a shooting in the Shomron, but it's not connected to terrorism. Okay. Anyway, we carry on with the march. But by the way, we're still sucking in like the secondhand smoke of this fire. It's pretty thick. Fun stuff. I encourage you all to go learn more about the Armenian genocide. It was one of the most barbaric episodes of history. It's not recognized by enough countries. It was, though it wasn't 100% religious, it was religious. Like people will argue with that. Some people will say it wasn't religious, and some people will say it very much was religious. It was maybe it wasn't originally religiously motivated. Maybe it was more ethnic, but it surely was religiously inspired, and the because the Armenians, being Christian, were forced to renounce their faith or to convert, and that was only, by the way, this book I was reading, it was just the women were told, if you want to live, convert. But the conversion only enabled them to be the concubine, actually sex slave, let's just call it what it is, of whatever person they were then sold to. And so there was a lot of sexual violence, like it's a big thing today where they talk about debates whether or not, on October 7th there was rape used as a crime, as a crime against humanity, things like that. Like whatever, there's a lot of talk about that. But the Armenian genocide was like not a day went by where hundreds, if not thousands, of rapes and sexual torture took place. I couldn't believe, because I'm sure many history books talk over in general about the genocide itself. But when I read this woman's book, she was, I think, about 15 when it first started, and it was like many women were raped to death, or raped repeatedly and then killed. raped and then left for dead. Um, it just was overwhelming, and all of the different types, I couldn't believe how creative they were in that it wasn't just systematically one way, but over and over and in many different ways that they carried out these atrocities. It was literally overwhelming, difficult to read. The book, I don't know if it's in print, it's called Ravished Armenia, and I bought it at the Armenian Genocide Museum in Yerevan this past year, or within the past year. And it's just, like I said, just not the kind of thing you can read. It's not a book you can read in one sitting or before you go to bed at night. Even knowing the outcome it didn't make it easier for me to pick up the book and say, oh, at least she survives. Because what was her survival when every single person she knew before that was murdered, and some of them in front of her eyes in the most brutal ways, and not just one way, but in different ways for each person. It's just mind-boggling. This went on for years. So it's important to know history. I mean, the Jews are extremely good at that with the Holocaust. They have spent the whole week leading up to Holocaust Remembrance Day, which is different in Israel than it is internationally. Internationally is January 27th, so you may be thinking, didn't that just happen? But here in Israel, they celebrate it on the Jewish calendar in the spring. I'm not sure, I don't remember what event it's associated with. I think January 27th is the Warsaw Uprising. I don't know what this is, but the Jews are very serious about remembering as a point of, saying never again. Like, we must remember this. We must keep the stories alive, because I'll get it. Here you go. Here you go. You're welcome. You're welcome. They have all week been talking about the stories, interviewing survivors or relatives of survivors. There's, I think, something like 100,000 or maybe more than 200,000 survivors of different categories still alive today in Israel. I hope I'm getting that number right. I'm sorry, check out my numbers. And by the way, this is part of the U.S. consulate right here. See the red, white, and blue? I just, for all you Americans. Anyway, so they have, like I said before, Zikaron da Salon, which is where they gather people in a living room to hear stories of a survivor. I know, like, in working with the deaf organization here, that they also do that for the deaf, by the deaf, like deaf Holocaust survivors. And so it's like all across society. The whole country will also shut down. The TVs will shut down. Places of entertainment will shut down. And it's all to take this solemn moment to remember. And very few countries, very few people groups do what the Jews do and what is done on a national level in Israel. But I have to say, it's extremely, it's a great model for other people to follow, because it's really keeps the memories front and center, and you can't escape it. Now, of course, just for the 2,000 or so Armenians that live in Jerusalem, they're going to be commemorating on their own. It won't be a national thing. Now, in Armenia, though, almost the entire country, and there's 3 million people, almost 3 million people, they will go to the Genocide Memorial. And I've done this before. Actually, we were there in 2024. By the way, I just got an alert from Waze that that Thursday is Holocaust Remembrance Day. So anyway, there you go. But so when I was in our family went to Yerevan, and we were so privileged to be there on the 24th of April to commemorate with the entire country. So the Armenians in Armenia do this as a nation as well, like I guess Israel, and everybody brings flowers and goes to the Genocide Memorial, where there's this eternal flame. And the first time I saw it was on April 24th, and I didn't know what it really looked like because I only knew what it was like with all the flowers, stacks of flowers. Everybody, every family, like it's like nobody in the country is untouched by the genocide. So everybody brings their flowers and lays them there. And I mean, must be like at least a third of the country actually makes the pilgrimage to the capital and to go and to pay their respects and to remember. And so it is amazing. Now here in Jerusalem, obviously it's different. And if you guys are in an area where there's a lot of Armenians, wherever you live, I wonder if there are any services. La Shoah Armeni. Shoah Armeni. The Armenian genocide. 1.5 million anashim. Somebody Israeli here just asked me what this was. Like I said, they don't know. They don't know the flag. They don't know the story. I think very few people do. No nation gets attention like Israel, for better and for worse, right? I mean, unfortunately, the Armenians don't get this attention, so nobody knows. I mean, look, wherever you live, like wherever you grew up, did you learn about the Armenian genocide in school? I mean, I would love to know. I did not. I had to piece it together throughout my life, only later in my life. But here we go. Here is, right here, this is called Paris Square, and that's where a lot of the protests take place. Pretty much any protest that's happening in Jerusalem would be like centered here, because right down there is the Prime Minister's official residence, and then down that street further is actually the Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's other residence. So a lot of the protests happen in this area. Protests, not like this, but the Israeli protests, the anti-government or the pro-democracy, however you characterize it, the hostages calling for, advocating for the hostages, calling for a deal to get their release, kind of things like that. So anyway, that would be where it takes place. And this here is Agron Street, and I'm still going the right way, right? Yes, Agron Street, and straight here will go to Jaffa Gate. We're going to pass also another part of another office of the American consulate. And now you see also like all the Israeli flags. Next week is Memorial Day for victims of war, soldiers and victims of terror here in Israel. And then that is always immediately followed by Independence Day. So you've got the most somber day on the calendar of the Jewish calendar, followed by the most raucous party day, celebration day on the calendar. So that is what will happen a week from today. That's going to be starting as well. So you don't catch a break here with days off, and whether it's a holiday or an observation or whatever, it's like between, especially with the Jewish calendar, but then just adding a few Christian and Muslim holidays, and you just pretty much never have anything that looks like routine. And then you throw in a pandemic or a war or a fire like today, and you pretty much have utter chaos at all times, and and no semblance of normalcy, and good luck with that. Oh, yelling in English. All right. It's talking about Artsakh, the return of the people of Artsakh to their homeland. Again, look that up. Look it up. Read about it. Read about the genocide as much as you can handle, and read about Artsakh and what happened to the Armenians that lived there. 120,000. It's called Nagorno-Karabakh by the Azeris, and actually most of the world now. So anyway, this is the Artsakh flag right here with it's the Armenian flag, but with this white triangle. Oh, nice. Erdogan, the Turkish Prime Minister, is not a friend of NATO. Turkey should get out of NATO, is what they're saying. Turkey hide! Turkey's guilty of genocide! Turkey run! Turkey hide! Turkey responsible for genocide.
Is this live?
Oh yeah, it's live. Oh, hopefully.
Mr. President, Turkey is no ally of America. Turkey must get out of NATO. Turkey is a bloody dictatorship. Turkey was built on the blood of Armenians, Greeks, and Assyrians. The United States President must protect the Christian heritage of Western Armenia. Turkey out of NATO. Mr. President, Turkey is no friend of
Yep. We're walking by the U.S. consulate right now, so message loud and clear for U.S. President Donald Trump that Turkey is no friend of NATO and should not be trusted.
Shame on Israel for not recognizing the first genocide of the 20th century. Hitler said, after all, who remembers the annihilation of the Armenian people? Shame on Israel for not recognizing the Armenian genocide. Busha عليهم.
Busha.
Shame. Israel must recognize the Armenian genocide now. Okay.
Come on, guys. Come on. Do you think most Israelis even know that it's Armenian Genocide Day?
Today is also Yom.
Yes, it is. Right now, we're starting the Holocaust remembrance. Yeah.
Probably most Israelis don't know the day, but they know it happened and they recognize it. And it's time for them to pressure their government into recognizing the Armenian genocide. It is a duty and a moral obligation of all Israelis to demand the recognition of the Armenian genocide.
Awesome. Tells me connection.
Google is whitewashing genocide.
I think it's super deal.
I'm sure they did something.
He's just going for everyone right now. Now this is Setrag Balian. I've interviewed him in the past, and actually I interviewed his brother earlier, and I hope that the connection was not lost while he was speaking. But these, I tell you, these young men here, Setrag, also Hagop, who I have not interviewed, he's leading the charge here.
Its banner to the Armenian genocide. Google, change your banner. Armenian genocide. Israel must recognize the Armenian genocide. Shame on Israel.
Interested in paying attention a little bit. Anyway, these young men are extremely eloquent about the Armenian cause, about keeping the traditions alive, and keeping the traditions alive here, which is not easy when you are operating as a minority group, as a people and a religion. It's a lot. There's a lot more challenges to maintaining your identity, your traditions, your culture, your language. So they do such a good job of trying to preserve that here for the community and keep the young people interested. You see these young scouts here and wearing their uniforms, wearing the scarves, carrying the flags. They're the ones carrying the signs. And so they're really doing a good job of trying to keep, there's a huge emigration of Christians from the Middle East, and the Armenian community has shrunk dramatically. Many Christians, also Palestinian Christians as well, have left, and so their numbers are small, and it's hard to just maintain and who you are and your identity. When you keep losing people, but there's less of a good reason to stay. Jobs are better elsewhere. You're maybe accepted elsewhere better. Maybe the education's better elsewhere. So, it's not always easy to maintain your presence here. So look at these little kids, holding the flag. We're about to cross this big intersection, King David Street and Agron. Up over there is Mamilla, if you recognize it. We did pass, and I didn't mention the Waldorf Hotel. Oh, wow. They're coming anyway. Where's the police?
Here.
Shouldn't there be one in front?
I don't know why it's been falling on the...
You're Israeli.
Huh?
You're Israeli?
Yes, I live in Jerusalem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah. And where are you from?
Well, Jerusalem as well now. Yeah.
Now in Jerusalem.
But I'm from New York originally. Okay, we're crossing. It looks like we're gonna go into Mamilla.
Okay.
Whoa. Yep. You gotta start. Stop. Okay. Hi. Let's see, over here, Jerusalem is waiting for you at home. You see that sign with the yellow ribbon? That's for the hostages. Many people wearing that. Anyway, now we've come to Mamilla, which is the shopping center outside the old city. So now we enter this shopping area. It's like this ritzy outdoor shopping mall with brand names and a couple cafes. It's called Mamilla, and it's they've preserved over here some of the original stones. They made a hotel here, very luxury hotel called Mamilla Hotel, but you will see that a lot of places are closed because of the Holocaust Memorial Day. All right, there's one shop open, but I'm sure that's like a convenience store. Yeah, normally this place is full of foot traffic, but closed. So the Armenians here are singing in Armenian, and you've got the foot traffic going by, Jews and Arabs, and look, they have no idea what's going on, these guys. It's very funny. Look, even Zara's closed. Amazing. But yeah, so the foot traffic, the people walking by, again, Jews, Arabs from the city, and the only people that understand what is being sung here are Armenians. Guys, this might be the most I have walked since my hip surgery. I just want you to know. Because I wasn't able to, or I wasn't allowed to. And now I just did this without thinking. I'm okay though. I'm just saying that perhaps this is the most kilometrage I have put on since, oh no, wait, we did go to Georgia. All right, they're going after Turkey again. Shame on Turkey. Aliyev. Now they're going Ilham Aliyev, who is the president of Azerbaijan. ישראל לא מכירה את השואה הארמנית. ישראל לא מכירה את השואה הארמנית. כן, אבל זה לא רשמי מהממשלה. זה מאנשים כן, אבל לא מהממשלה. He's like, of course we know they had a genocide, but I'm like, no, but it's not officially recognized by the government. But he's like, oh, but you know, like whatever. Like they don't get the official recognition. But just imagine if a country didn't recognize, like Iran, for instance, doesn't recognize that the Holocaust happened. Well, you know, they're horrible and et cetera, et cetera. So that's how Armenians would feel about being recognized or having this recognized, because of course there are political implications or through partnerships and diplomatic relations, but you know, it's lost on the general decisions that are made at political levels, and political levels are not always conducive to moral decisions. So it looks like this is a cafe that is still open. Huh, interesting. I wonder if they do plan to close, but everything else is pretty much closed. Most likely they're having their last few bites and then that's it. Nobody new will probably be ordering, or no new customers will be here to order. Man, a lot of these stores, not only are they closed, but they're actually closed down. Here you go, like Roladine, for instance, is completely empty now, so they're closed. Hold on. They're done. They've wrapped up. That's more what I expected. Guys, we're coming up on Jaffa Gate right now. Now, this procession is going to go all the way back to the Armenian convent, and there will be a vigil in the church. So when you enter Jaffa Gate, you're in the Christian quarter. Well, immediately to the left is the Christian quarter, left and straight, and to the right is the Armenian quarter. So if you haven't been here, scoop. Guys, I mean, where else do you get things like this? You know what I mean? Like actual, like what is happening on the ground? And I mean, you know, not just the these communities that nobody knows like what their connection is to Jerusalem, why they're here, why they're still here, how did they get here to begin with? But that is why you need to come. Be in touch and let me know. This is, I mean, this is the insider stuff. This is like the really, really cool stuff to know about what happens here in this very complicated city. Anyway, let me give you a bit of a view. We're up now. We came from down there, but around. Over here, let's see if I'm pointing, this building that over there between the trees, over on top of the other hill, that is the King David Hotel. But we came from down in that valley on the other side of this hill here, on the other side in the valley. We came, that's where the church was, and we went all the way around to come up here. So now here's the highway, so you get a perspective. Here's coming up to Jaffa Gate, going this way to the north side of the city. And here's the walls. Newgate would be in that direction. Here's the walls, Jaffa Gate, the magnificent Jaffa Gate, and then back around. So, wow, thank you for joining and being a part of this. And I hope that this was not at all entertaining, but enlightening, and actually that it will encourage you to go check out more, to learn more about these situations here. All of the not just the news on the ground, but the history, the genocide, the Armenian genocide. That's one thing I think that's the big takeaway from today. And we're just entering also, as well as the Armenian genocide, which is observed, you know, from tonight and on April 24th tomorrow, but also the Holocaust lands on the same day this time. And here they're singing the Armenian anthem. So thank you for joining. Thank you for taking part in this. And I am going to go find a way back to my car, which is back where we started. And I will see you. I'll catch you again next time on our next live stream. So thank you very much and have a good day or night wherever you are.